Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monsters of Midnight YouTube channel. If you're new here, this is something of an experiment, trying to broaden the catalog of stuff that you can enjoy from the Monsters of Midnight Pantheon. If you are a returning customer to the Monsters of Midnight YouTube channel, you're probably more confused since the only thing we've put out is gaming content so far. But as you know, if you've listened to the podcast or know me as a human being, there are many interests that I have, among which are music. So I've got one of my best friends here, the internet's music... fuck that one up. The internet's most busy music nerd, or whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
Anthony Massons.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
Massons.
Yeah. Sorry. I should have
No one
practiced
says it
that
right,
one
don't.
too.
That's fine.
He's such a good friend of mine, I don't even know how to say his last name.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're also going to be joined by Tony's lovely girlfriend Taylor here.
Hello.
She might chime in from time to time if she has thoughts and opinions. But yeah, what's popular on YouTube? Just ripping off others' ideas. So big ups to the YouTube channel Hivemind for this idea. This wasn't something they specifically did, but they've done a lot of music-related brackets. So Anthony and I are going to be...
We've been doing brackets.
We've been doing brackets. That's true. We've been doing brackets for a minute.
Yeah.
We've been out here doing brackets for a minute now.
Charles brackets. How can you...
You can never forget the Charles brackets. Anthony and I are going to be doing brackets of our top 32 favorite albums. And each of us are going to decide who is the victor for our for the respective bracket.
Yeah.
If none of this makes sense, it will by the end, I promise. So we're going to start here with a coin flip to decide who's going to be going first for the bracket.
So are we doing winner goes first or loser goes first?
Winner goes first?
Okay, sure. You call it.
Alright, heads.
Tails.
Alright, so
I'm going first.
you're going first for mine. Okay.
Sure thing.
So let's start this off here. There's a way to go full screen. There it is. Okay. So before... What the fuck? Get this shit out of here. Super professional here. There we go. Collapse.
Perfect.
That's why editing was invented.
Okay, I'm going to try to not look too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get into this, I want to stipulate the sort of... Whenever I do a list like this, I feel like I need to put parameters, even though it's my list.
I was going to ask, yeah, well, say what you were going to say.
No, basically, like, I tried to stick one album per artist. There is a cheat with mine. I also tried to do no soundtracks, which I also kind of cheated with that, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great soundtracks that I could have put on this list that I didn't.
I'm in the same boat. I tried to stick to one artist, and I also have a cheat,
Mm-hmm.
and also have a soundtrack.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is part of that cheat.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So I wanted to run through a couple of honorable mentions real quick for like contemporary music albums. Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino, which was on the bracket until a late game decision upset, and what an upset it was.
I'm excited to talk about that.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this one. And Turtleneck and Chain by The Lonely Island.
Okay.
Like, I love that album so much, but I'm also 27 now. I ain't rotating it the same way I was back in high school. A few soundtracks that I want to shout out. Blade Runner soundtrack is my favorite soundtrack. I
didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Blade Runner is my favorite movie. It's my favorite soundtrack.
Yeah.
Also, the Twin Peaks soundtrack / the Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me soundtrack, that is sort of paid respect in a capacity with my list. I also could have filled it with a lot of video game soundtracks, too. So real quick, the soundtracks for Hotel Dusk, Room 215, and Last Window, The Secret of Cape West. The soundtrack for Silent Hill 2 and Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender Action could have made this list, but didn't.
Nice.
But enough about what could have made it. This is what did make it.
Let's see what made the cut.
So we're going to be starting with Dirt by Alice in Chains versus Dawn FM by The Weeknd.
I re-listened to Dirt today while I was at work too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'll start by talking about Dirt. Oh, so what I was gonna ask are we doing this by like what we like more, or what we think is the better album, or
that's
how are
gonna
we
be?
ranking this?
I mean,
We're just
there's
going off of
it's
vibes.
hard to be objective
Yeah.
with this sort of thing. I'm gonna be or subjective, whatever the like,
Yeah, I know.
whatever
what you
the whichever one it is. I'm gonna be going purely off of which one I prefer.
mean. Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I would prefer too. I think.
Yeah, because I mean, like, because there are like, if we were to do that, they're like,
Objective would be the other way.
yes. If we were to do that, the best album on your list might not be the one I want to listen to the most.
Exactly.
And I feel
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'll start with Dirt. I did not like. I had very little experience with Alice in Chains outside of like the hits. I think the first time I heard them was Them Bones on Guitar Hero 2.
hell yeah.
Which I like fell in love with that song after I heard it on Guitar Hero 2 and bought it for my iPod and everything.
That's what's up.
And they start that album with that song. It's a great way to start the album. Like it just comes in hidden right away. And then the rest of the album is really good. This album just sounds like heroin to me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was interesting because I was expecting the album to just kind of be on the same wavelength as Them Bones, and it kind of wasn't for a lot of it. Like there's some songs, I was writing notes at work, and of course I lost the sheet I was writing notes when this went on. But I don't know, there are a few songs that almost get into like, he's got like an acoustic guitar, not like classic rock, but like a kind of vibe like that, and like I don't know, there's some cool little production tricks they're doing and stuff like that. But really, really good album. I really liked it. It's up against Dawn FM,
Which I know is not your personal favorite Weekend project.
Yeah, I like Early Weekend. Dawn FM is interesting because I listened to it and then I went back to oh my god, I can't even remember the name now. The one before it.
After Hours.
After Hours, yeah. Because that's kind of like, he's really doing his kind of 80s turn with it now. And obviously you prefer Dawn FM, but it had been, I listened to both of them when they first came out, and then I hadn't really gone back to them. So like, I listened to Dawn FM, and then I went back and re-listened to After Hours just to see which one I would prefer more, and I definitely do prefer Dawn FM more.
What's interesting to me is that the hits on After Hours are better than
I was gonna say
most of the songs on Dawn FM.
I was gonna say that exact same thing. Yeah. Like I love the song "Heartless" by him, which that's like, it's interesting too because that's one of the less 80s sounding songs on After Hours. That one's just kind of like, I think it's produced by Metro Boomin, and
it's a
more
very
standard.
Weekend ass Weekend
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, more standard like trap affair. But no, Dawn FM it's really good. You got the Jim Carrey interludes, which I want to know how those came about. Is there like a story with that or anything?
I don't really know. I mean, Abel plays a lot of his stuff really close to the chest.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I also haven't done a whole lot of research into the album, other than like, and like a lot of it can tend to be hearsay. Other than like, I think The Weeknd is just a fan of characters.
He is,
and like, and like
I mean,
also,
he's doing characters especially with this album. Like I can
Yeah.
remember the lead into this album was like, is this the one that you got the plastic surgery for?
This
and
was the
everything?
old man one.
Yes.
The plastic
yes.
surgery
Okay.
was After Hours. But
Okay,
this,
yeah.
because like, and he's also said that this is like the second album in a trilogy.
Yeah.
With After Hours being the first one. So
He's doing robot stuff now. He's just like Daft Punk.
yeah, well, for
don't
the
know how
longest
I
time he
feel
was
about
also
that.
wearing like an MF Doom type of mask
Yeah,
too. It looked
yeah.
like, which was kind of bizarre.
Yeah. So he's all over the place. He's trying out
I think he
different
just likes
stuff.
weird things and weird people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't dislike Dawn FM, but to me it just kind of is like, I don't know, it sounds like The Weeknd doing 80s, where like that's just kind of all it is. Like yeah, it's got amazing production. The Angelina Jolie or supposed Angelina Jolie reference is interesting. I completely forgot about that.
That's right.
But yeah, so I mean, I think on this one, Dirt is taking it for me on this one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Dirt moves on. Okay. All right. Well, this might not be making it into the edit. All right. So Dirt
is the winner.
Yay! There we go. All right. So let's just do this now from here on out.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah.
We got to figure it out now.
All right.
Should have practiced this. Up next, we've got "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick Lamar and "Floating into the Night" by Julie Cruz. And this is the sneaky Twin Peaks. Like entry. Like, for those uninitiated, Julie Cruz did a lot of music for the TV show Twin Peaks. She plays the lounge singer at the Roadhouse bar there, and the music was all written and composed by David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti.
She sings in some pivotal scenes.
Yeah. So that's where the Twin Peaks connection's in, because a lot of the songs on this are on the Twin Peaks soundtrack, if not like all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one. I'll keep talking about "Floating into the Night" since we're on that.
Sure.
Yeah, Julie Cruz, R.I.P. She's great. What did she die of?
I don't know. I'll give it a Google here.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Twin Peaks is one of, if not my favorite show. So of course I love this. I love Julie Cruz. Just a captivating voice, and she kind of, her and her voice and her music like are Twin Peaks as much as, you know, the Twin Peaks soundtrack or the characters or just everything. It's the full package. And it's a great album, and yeah, you know, it's interesting. She definitely was influential, I would say, for sure. Like
So I've got how she died. She had a long battle with systemic lupus, and she actually died by suicide by suffocation.
What?
Yeah, apparently, I'm trying to see. Apparently, someone was with her when she decided to make this decision, and he played the B-52 song "Rome" during her transition.
So she kind of euthanized herself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fun.
I mean, that's, her music's haunting and eerie, and that's, she went out like her music.
Yeah, honestly, no, and that's like it's the tragic beauty behind the music, and it's like, and that's wild.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's just like, it's very arresting music where like, yeah, like you said, it is tragic, it is eerie, it like, you know, it makes you think of a teenage girl who is just suffering and dying, but also there's like some weird beauty to it.
I have a fun fact about this album. David Lynch David Lynch is cagey about everything, but he hasn't exactly confirmed or denied whether or not this album is supposed to be specifically about Laura Palmer. But one interesting thing I found in the liner notes under the special thanks, there is one special thanks that just says Bob.
Really?
Which is probably a coincidence, but I thought it was really spooky.
I feel like it's got to be about Laura Palmer.
It has to be, you'd think.
Yeah. Do you have this album on vinyl? You do, don't you?
I believe I do have this album.
Yeah.
Her newer work is good too, from like the mid-10s. Very more upbeat, but still jazzy and loungy.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with her discography outside of most of the stuff she was doing in the 90s. She did do like a really interesting remix, new version of Falling on one of her albums from the early 2000s.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, it's kind of like trip-hoppy almost.
Yeah, I think I have heard that.
Yeah.
I like trip-hop, so yeah, I think I remember liking that. I'm looking at this right now. I didn't know that this is from '89, so this came out before the show even.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought this came out like with the show. Like
Yeah.
Well, it's only a year before the show.
Yeah.
I mean, they were filming in '89.
That's true, actually.
Because the song, I forget what it's called, but the song that's in Blue Velvet is also on this album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mysteries of Love.
Yeah, Mysteries of Love. Yeah, I would say, I mean, obviously Falling is great. Mysteries of Love is great. Into the Night is great. Those are definitely like my favorite songs on the
The
album.
World Spins always breaks my heart.
Yeah. Great closer.
I did, fun fact about that song, I used that in a memorial video for my cat.
That's
Oh.
very sweet.
See, you got...
Which
you
is
got...
appropriate because I saw an interview with her where Lynch was telling her to like think about the person she loves the most in this world when she sang it, and she apparently was singing about her dog when she sang that song. It was very sweet.
You got Beautiful Things passing away, and you associated with Julie Cruz. You know, that's her music. And then we got
one of the best rap albums of all
yeah,
time.
To Pimp a Butterfly. This is two very
this-
different albums. I
this
like
is
this
tough.
matchup. Yeah, this is really tough. Yeah, I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly is crazy. Like, it's an album that I like more every single time I listen to it. Honestly,
I agree.
yeah, and it's funny because like when it first came out, I liked it, but I didn't listen to it that much. Almost because it just like it caught me really off guard. Like I loved Good Kid, Mad City and played it nonstop, and then yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly came out and I listened to it, and I don't know, I almost just kind of like wasn't really paying attention to it, and then like a year later I listened to it again, and yeah, I'll go through phases where I just listen to this album for like a week straight, because yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Admittedly, it's been a long time since I've listened to it front to back, but every time I like start it or hear songs from it, I'm like, fuck, this album really is good.
Yeah. I mean the production is just insane, and just
Apparently influenced Black Star. David Bowie was
Yeah.
apparently big into
yeah, I saw that. I was reading about that recently because I knew that Death Grips apparently also influenced Black Star.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Black Star, which is also another amazing album.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, where is I going? Oh yeah. Because yeah, I was looking up the article and I saw like To Pimp a Butterfly and Death Grips and stuff, which you can definitely hear it in a lot of parts of Black Star.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like it's crazy, and this album, you know, has just a ton of influences with funk and G-funk and just yeah, he is just rapping his ass off on it, and like you know, getting the best out of his features. Yeah, Blacker the Berry is probably my favorite song on it. Let me pull up the track list.
Such great storytelling too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been great at that, even up until Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yeah. Yeah, Wesley's Theory is great. All Right is, of course, like at this point, kind of a classic.
King Kunta too.
King Kunta. Yeah.
Because even like when he does like a big pop single, there's something wholly unique about it.
Yeah. I mean, like the fact that he performed All Right like at the Super Bowl, and you know, at like the Super Bowl of all things was like We Hate Popo and stuff like that. Like just that's Kendrick, you know, and that's this album. I will say, I've never been big on the Tupac interview or like Tupac spoken section. That's always just kind of like, I don't know. I'm assuming Tupac's family or estate or whatever probably approved it, because I saw recently like Drake made that AI Tupac diss track and they like gave him a cease and desist for that. So like obviously Tupac's estate is like approving stuff and everything. So like they approved it, but I don't know. At least he closes out the album with it, and it's like really lengthy and stuff, so it's like at that point if I don't feel like listening to it, I can kind of turn it off. It obviously ties into like the themes of the album and everything like that, which but yeah, I mean it's great. It is great,
And one's got to walk here.
I know. I think I'm gonna give the winner to Pimp a Butterfly, because this is hard.
I know.
Now that I say it. Yeah, I think I gotta go with To Pimp a Butterfly
Fair enough.
on this one.
Fair enough.
Just I've listened to it more, and I don't know. It's it's great.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes that's all it comes down to. Is,
I mean, like you said, it's one of the best rap albums ever. And one of the best albums of the previous decade. Like,
oh yeah. And
if not
also,
the
like,
best.
at a certain point, it's like, it's got to be the album you spent the most time with, too. Like, I feel like that does factor into it, too.
Yeah. And while we're talking about albums I've spent the most time with, well, introduce
Yeah,
you wanna
sure.
introduce the albums.
So, next we've got Solo by Danny Elfman versus Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution. This is one of my sort of cheat albums. Because for those of you that know me are probably sick of this at this point, Oingo Boingo is my favorite band. Solo, while credited as a Danny Elfman solo project, is an Oingo Boingo album. Like, you look at the liner notes, everyone involved with Oingo Boingo is involved.
I was going to ask you about that.
So the story is, when they were switching record labels, they were tied up in legal issues about using the name Oingo Boingo.
Uh-huh.
So they put this album out under Danny Elfman's name, and also sort of an opportunity to make more pop, radio-friendly music, new wave music, which is weird because, like, even this album is still very strange for, like, radio music that's coming out.
Yeah. It sounds like on the same level as the Oingo Boingo album you have on here, in my opinion.
Yeah, spoiler alert, there's another Oingo Boingo album on here, but I've always really liked this album. My mom is the one that turned me on to Oingo Boingo. She was listening to them in college, and when I was like a Nightmare Before Christmas freak as a kid, she put on Dead Man's Party for me and was like, "Do you recognize who's singing?" And so, like, I found all her Boingo records probably back before high school, maybe like 8th grade, and she still had a turntable then and was putting them on, and I loved this album from the jump. So
yeah, he doesn't sound like Jack Skellington as much as I expected him to a lot of the time.
No, yeah.
Because before doing this, like, I barely knew Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo's music. I honestly think Weird Science was like the only Oingo Boingo song I heard. But no, I actually like really like it. Solo I didn't listen to as much as Nothing to Fear. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they're kind of on the same level, and I listened to Nothing to Fear first, and then I listened to Solo, and like 3 songs in, I was like, okay, so like, did he just release an Oingo Boingo album under his name? Because like, this sounds like, you know, he's got the full band and is doing all the tricks and everything like that. Like,
well, that's the thing about it too, is like, it's always struck me that Oingo Boingo was just like his band, because like he wrote all the music and like did, like, I don't know a whole lot, and he hasn't really said a whole lot about how much like contribution came from, like, I'm sure like he let Steve Bartek like create his own solos and stuff and let the horn guys do other stuff.
Oh yeah, they
but
have
like
crazy horn sections.
But like,
always.
there's like, you listen to all of his music and it's like, this is coming from just one fucked up dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know more about Danny Elfman after listening to these 2 albums because, his music is nuts.
Yeah,
like, it sounds like, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like Talking Heads on crack or something like that. Like,
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Versus another. I mean, not another classic from the 80s, but like, if like there's a Mount Rushmore of albums from the 80s, I'd put Purple Rain on it.
Getting into Purple Rain, this is when I said speaking of albums we're familiar with. Purple Rain almost made my 32.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love Purple Rain. I love Prince. We went to the Prince versus MJ night at Mad Planet last weekend. Yeah, so I will say Prince is great. A lot of his songs are kind of hard to dance to, at least compared to MJ. But I mean, MJ's got like, MJ songs are like the easiest songs in the world to dance to.
Prince is great for cruising down the road at night and being on the beach.
Yeah,
that's when I want to listen to Prince.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Purple Rain is just like an album of nothing but hits.
Yes.
You got a few albums on this bracket that are just nothing, like, feel like every single song is a hit, and in some cases, damn near every single song is a hit. Yeah. What's your favorite song on this album?
My favorite, oh, fuck me. I mean, it honestly might be Purple Rain, because that's the one. That one has had a lot of significance to me for a lot of different reasons throughout my life.
It hits.
And like it does hit, but like every like I love Let's Go Crazy. I love When Doves Cry. I love the beautiful ones too, like a lot. And I mean, that's the thing about this album. The only song on it that I still like, but I'm not like in love with, is Take Me With You, and that's one song out of the whole album. Because that's the one that feels the most directly attached to the movie.
See, and I haven't seen the movie.
I love the movie.
I know, yeah.
The movie is like such a decadent, like vanity piece, but it's so good. And that one feels the most like soundtracky to it. But like everything else on this album rules. And I know this is also, I feel like I have to defend myself, but it's my list. Fuck you. Not you, but I know this is kind of like a normie pick for the Prince fan. A lot of people would normally go Sign of the Times or something else, or maybe something crazy.
I recently got into Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times is also a great album, and like 1999 is also a great album. Like I even love his album Come, which is not a popular pick at all, but like it's like this is the one I like I said, I've sat the most with, and again it's just heat front to back, and it's also the perfect length for me personally.
No, it is.
As
it is
an
a
album,
perfect length.
it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah,
and even the longest track, which is Purple Rain, which is like 8.5 minutes, is so varied and goes places that I never get sick of this album.
I think having a concise album is a lost art, honestly. So many albums nowadays. Yeah. Streaming is, so many albums are bloated now just to juice up streaming numbers. That's why Purple Rain is...
Because Prince would even do that too, but when he finally got out of his contract, like the first album he put out was Emancipation, which is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And like I love
Sign of the
Prince.
Times is pretty long too.
Sign of the Times is pretty long, but like and I love Prince, but I'm like, I ain't fucking sitting down listening to a 3 hour long album. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But When Doves Cry might be one of my favorite songs.
So good.
It's definitely like the top 25 song for me. So Danny, you got a new fan with me since I've been listening to these albums, but it's easily Purple Rain.
That's completely fair.
Yeah.
This is a matchup where like it breaks my heart, but it's also like I can't disagree. Like Purple Rain would be my pick too. This matchup is hilarious.
I think Taylor's got some taste.
So we've got Sehnsucht by Rammstein.
How do you pronounce it?
Sehnsucht.
Sehnsucht. Okay.
And Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown. I will say I had a hard time picking which Danny Brown project I wanted to go on this, because I also really love You Know What I'm Saying and Scaring the Hose. But again, I wanted to go with one album per artist for the most part. And it was an Atrocity Exhibition, just like there ain't really anything like it for me.
Yeah. Spoiler alert! I got a Danny album on my list.
Yes,
too,
sir.
So.
Versus just some insane German industrial metal.
Yeah, these Germans are fucked up. God damn.
This is the one when I put it on my list, I was like, this is the one that's going to be the funniest for me to think about Anthony listening to.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I was listening to it at work, and like I don't know, just like, lugging around while unloading stuff, lugging around buckets of paint, like it's good for that, because it's just heavy and like I don't know, they got good production with it, like they're all over the place with their production. It's really good. But like, goddamn, the German already sounds like an ugly language, and they just make German. It sounds like an orc language or something.
They really, and they've said in interviews that they were trying to make like after the fall of communism and the fall of the Berlin Wall in Berlin. That was a cool one that I just said. They were making music that like you just weren't hearing, and they were also just like focusing on like the German brand, so to speak. So it's almost like like mechanical. It's almost militaristic.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
like,
you can definitely tell they're going with
and
like.
Till Lindemann's voice is just like on this album, it's not the best display of his vocal abilities because he has some really great ballads in their like later catalog. But this one, he is just fucking. It's Rammstein. It's a ramming stone. That's
what it means?
That's
Yeah.
what it means. It's
Okay,
like
yeah.
it's just the first time I heard it. I mean, obviously, the first song I ever heard by them was Du Hast, but I was
Yeah.
like,
That's the one Rammstein.
I was like, this
yeah.
is unfucking real.
We saw him do some ramming yesterday. in
Yes,
the video
sir.
you showed us.
Yes, sir. Do yourself a favor and look up a live performance of the song "Bück dich" by them if you're curious.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it was I'm gonna butcher this pronouncing Bistrafnik.
There you go.
Yeah, that one is definitely the one that stood out to me the most. Buktik did too. Because yeah, I can remember I wrote a few of these down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I wish I knew what he was saying, but at the same time, I feel like I'd be kind of scared if I knew what he was saying.
They're not happy songs.
I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, well, some of them are, I mean, happy is a weird way to describe it, but some of them are more positive emotions, and some of them are really,
Yeah. You can, I mean,
There's
yeah,
a lot of storytelling in their music. I
sure.
will say,
and you can tell they're going with like, I don't know, like definitely almost like fascist overtone or undertones with it,
That's
and like
what I got from it.
yeah, and like with I don't know, their whole getup and everything is just very dominating, like
which is
yeah.
which I mean, it sounds like I'm justifying.
I'm not
it.
calling them fascist.
Well, that's the
but,
thing. It's
yeah.
all very like theatrical and tongue in cheek
Yeah,
because they're
exactly.
they're actually very left wing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
On their next album, they have a whole song about how like they were like called like Nazi sympathizers and stuff like that, but they have a whole song about like you don't fucking know me, and my heart actually beats on the left is what the translation of that song is.
It's very clearly like satirical in a way.
Yeah, you're poking fun at what you come from.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this album. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
I was surprised to learn it came out in '97. For some reason, I thought it was like '92 or something.
Oh sure.
Is the I can't even remember. Is the song that's in Lost Highway on this album?
No, that's on their first.
Okay.
They have 2 songs from their first album that are on Lost Highway.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we got Atrocity Exhibition, which is great.
Yes.
Crazy album, crazy rap album. I mean, some of these beats are like so insane that they have no right being rapped over. We're like, especially seeing him perform some of them live, it's just like you really realize like, how do you hear this beat or make this beat and go like, okay, this is what I'm gonna rap over, because it's just like absurd.
Insane concert too, like always.
Yeah, I've seen him. You've seen him twice?
I've seen him twice.
Yeah, and I've seen him now 3 times. We each just saw him, not at the same time. We went to Chicago,
Same
you went
tour.
to Madison. Yeah, same tour. Back-to-back nights.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I was happy that he still did a few songs from this album, because the first time I saw him was the tour for this album.
Mm-hmm.
And the album hadn't even come out yet, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I think it came out the weekend after I saw him, because he had just released... Actually, he might have not have even released it as a single yet, but Dance in the Water, he played at the album, and I think I don't think it was released yet. Dance in the Water is crazy live. Like, I wasn't big listening to it on the album. I wasn't that big on it, and then like seeing it live, I don't know, it feels like I'm in like a weird dystopian rave or something that. Yeah, Ain't It Funny is insane. It sounds
Probably
like
my favorite song.
it sounds like just a fucked up horror movie carnival, crazy, hedonistic. I don't know, it's insane. Really Dough has Earl Sweatshirt's guest verse on Really Dough, I think is one of my favorite features.
Yeah. And
It's
even for
insane.
being like the lead single from that, again, like all the singles from this album, it's like this is still just some fucked up shit. That's just
Yeah,
like
the entire album just feels like a cry for help.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, Atrocity Exhibition and the Joy Division reference.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. The first time I saw him when he was touring for this album, he played. I think he played the Atrocity Exhibition Joy Division
Nice.
song.
Do you think
As
the
the
Downward
opener.
Spiral is a Nine Inch Nails reference then? Like it has to be.
I feel like it's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny likes a lot of different stuff, like
He does,
all across
yeah.
the board. He's a really eclectic guy, which comes through in like his samples and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which song it is on here, but one of these songs, I'm gonna look it up. One of these songs samples the band This Heat. Danny Brown. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. That's not on this album. I thought
Okay.
it was on this album because this album does have some crazy samples though. Because I know that he like had to pay for a lot of the samples out of pocket just because he wanted them so
Yeah.
bad, and he like went broke.
Yeah,
paying for the
famously.
samples. And like this isn't an album that can get a lot of mainstream play, so
Yeah.
I think he's doing fine for money now. But
Yeah,
yeah.
he seems to be doing much better.
Yeah, but between the two albums, I'm definitely gonna pick Atrocity Exhibition.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, Rammstein has left a lasting impact on me, but Danny's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
So
that matchup is just hilarious to me.
okay,
This matchup is even funnier.
this is
So we've got kind of a meme pick, but I do genuinely love this album. We've got The Return of Bruno by Bruce Willis
Yes.
versus Run the Jewels 2 by Run the Jewels.
This is no competition. Here. I'm sorry.
So I was talking to Taylor about this last night. The Return of Bruno is actually sort of a soundtrack album for, I think, an HBO movie of the week that he did. This
Really?
was still in his like TV acting days,
Yeah.
pre-Die Hard.
Yeah.
Because there was a period of time where people didn't really know what to do with Bruce Willis. He was really famous for a TV show called Moonlighting, which is quite good.
I've heard of it. Okay, yeah.
And he's quite funny in it. And like he had like he's a villain of the week on Miami Vice, but he did a couple movies that weren't big hits. They were critically panned and like didn't pull in numbers. It wasn't until like to the point where it was a gamble to put him in Die Hard. Like Fox was not stoked that he was the pick for Die Hard. Like they didn't want to market it as a Bruce Willis movie because
do
they
you
thought
know
it
who
was going
they
to be.
wanted?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of the like normal, usual suspects in the talks, like Pacino, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
think Schwarzenegger might have been in talks
Yeah.
for a while. But what's funny is because Die Hard is based off of a book that's a sequel, the first pick that they not pick, but the first person they had to ask was Frank Sinatra.
Oh yes, I do know this.
Because he was in the film adaptation of the book's predecessor called
Yeah.
The Detective.
Yeah.
Because the book itself is structurally very similar, but quite different from the movie in a lot of ways.
Some weird lore.
Yeah, but like I don't know the full story, but I think maybe Bruce Willis was also just like, I can sing and play the harmonica too, so people were like, fuck it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
so my
he
mom
can
actually
sing.
saw him perform at Alpine Valley back before like
Really?
the Die Hard days.
Whoa. Okay.
So the Return of Bruno is this sort of like it was soul, not in the soul bluesy sort of rock soul album. A lot of it's like old covers of old songs, with I think a couple originals that he didn't write, obviously. But yeah, I think it's the soundtrack for this movie of the week.
I have had his Under the Boardwalk cover stuck in my head for the past 3 days.
It's really good.
Yeah. No, he's got a good voice. I was like really surprised. Like a lot of the songs, they kind of just have like that, like, I don't know, Huey Lewis almost, like just kind of like, get up and jump and dance. The
Exactly.
blues rock,
it is very like blues rocky.
Yeah. But no, I was impressed with Bruce. I was impressed with Bruno. I will say I listened to this album a bunch. I think I listened to it like 3 times in a row just because like I was just kind of enraptured by the novelty of it.
Yeah.
But like by the 3rd time listening to it, I definitely was like, all right, I'm ready to take a break from this. But I mean to to put right in the middle of your album an Under the Boardwalk cover with and then a Secret Agent Man,
Yeah.
insane. No one does it like Bruno.
Ain't that the truth?
But yeah, Bruce Willis.
Versus, again, another insane hip-hop album.
Yeah. Definitely Run the Jewels' best album. Yeah, Run the Jewels 2 is amazing. I listened to this album nonstop when it came out.
I just revisited it recently because it had been a minute since I heard it all the way through.
Yeah.
And
It's just like every song hits so hard. Like they're just LP's production is insane, and
they have such an aggression to
Yeah.
their music
Yeah.
that is just unparalleled.
and like it makes sense that they have like Zach De La Rocha on there, and like they got Travis Barker drumming before he was overexposed drumming on every rap album.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your favorite songs on this album?
Let me pull up the track list. Yeah, I love Blockbuster Night Part 2.
Yeah. Blockbuster Night Part 2 or Lie, Cheat, Steal.
Lie, Cheat, Steal, Kill. I love Close Your Eyes and Count to Fuck.
Yeah.
Love Again, I really like too.
Love
like,
Again.
I really
Love
like
Again is
Love
great.
Again.
R.I.P. Gangsta Boo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those are probably the ones I pick. And again, like 11 songs, 39 minutes, just like prime length for me in an album.
Yeah, no, that's again, it's just like a concise every song feels like it fits in there. Nothing feels like filler. Like
and you just get the feeling that Killer Mike and LP have such fun playing off of each other too. Like their delivery is just infectious on these songs.
Yeah. They're like, because they're going in and they're just like rapping their asses off and like very aggressive, very heavy, but at the same time, like you can tell that they're not taking themselves too seriously.
I said Blockbuster Night Part 2. It's Part 1.
Yeah,
my mistake.
Yeah.
Journalistic integrity.
But yeah, between these two albums, I'm gonna give it to Run the Jewels 2.
That's fair.
I gotta give it to Return of Bruno.
Well, I never thought this would be the one to split the
Boardwalk.
vote.
Run the Jewels should do an Under the Boardwalk cover.
That'd be sick. All right, up next.
Oh, okay.
You got a little bit of spoiler about your feelings on this one.
Yeah,
but
we tried to keep our thoughts on the albums to a minimum
Yeah.
while we've been preparing for this. But
this was we kind of spoiled a couple for ours.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will say, not to get too far ahead, I came around significantly on the one that I was talking
really
about.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance versus Death Magic by Health. The Black Parade is interesting to me because I got into it like way late, like way after.
Okay, I was
school.
wondering if you were like
I
My
was in
Chemical
high school
Romance
when I
kid.
finally got
Okay,
into
yeah.
it. Like I was not an emo kid. Like we'll see an album that comes from my music taste from when I was a kid. I heard The End and Dead used in a YouTube video, and I was like, these songs really kind of fuck.
Yeah.
And I found the CD in the bargain bin.
The End
at
is one of the
Walmart.
songs I liked more on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found it in the CD in the bargain bin at Walmart, and I had it in my car for like a while in high school. And
I feel like this is high school CD core for
exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, what's funny is, for perspective, this would have been like 2015 or something. When the high schoolers who had this in their car, it probably was 2006.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Death Magic by Health. I got into Health because they did the soundtrack for Max Payne 3. And this album came out shortly after I played Max Payne 3 for the first time. And this was sort of considered a change in sound for them because their first two albums are really aggressive noise rock.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, and this is more almost like dark wave industrial sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll let you get into it now here.
No, yeah, I'll start with Death Magic. Cause I told you like I really did not like this album and I can't even explain why. I don't know. Like, I think part of it is I was expecting something else for it. I was expecting like heavier. But I don't know. Like, I'm not big on the vocals over I'm not big on like the vocals and how they sound over
That's
that
fair.
type of music. I don't know, something about it just doesn't
It is like
resonate with me.
That's fair because I forget what the lead singer's name is, but he has a very soft tenor voice.
Yeah, and it like I don't know, it just didn't work for me. Like I am sure that this band has stuff that I probably would really fuck with, especially if I was, you know, like playing a video game or something like that, or doing something where it's like the right setting. There's an album of yours coming up that I played a bunch while I was playing video games.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear what that
But
is.
yeah, I listened to this album twice, and I don't know, it did not work for me. This is an interesting matchup too because I'm also not big on the Black Parade.
Ooh, the emo kid's gonna come for
I know.
you.
No,
I get it though. Like
if
that's
I listened
fair.
if I listened to this album like in middle school, I would have loved it. I think it's just because I missed the boat on it, honestly.
Sure,
And
yeah.
like now listening to it in full for the first time when I'm 27 years old, it just kind of doesn't work.
That's fair.
I don't know, Gerard Way, his vocals at times can be kind of grating to me. Sometimes he doesn't sound bad, sometimes he sounds good, but like then there are other times where his voice almost sounds like cartoony. He's doing like a weird thing with his voice.
That's fair. That makes me think of the song like "Mama." It's very like
Yeah.
very showy.
Yes.
but like I mean, he's openly admitted to be very influenced by Queen.
Oh, you could tell, yeah.
And
Yeah,
because
there's-
this album itself is also kind of a rock opera. It tells a story.
Yeah,
It's-
it's extremely. It feels so theatrical and I don't know too much about the album. The album is kind of inspired by 9/11, isn't it?
Well, the band itself is like
Okay,
I
yeah.
think Gerard Way was. I forget what he was, but he just started doing music after 9/11. For whatever reason, I don't know, because the album itself is like the story of like a cancer patient who is like
The
coming.
Cancer song was crazy.
Yeah. He's like it's like his final moments and
Yeah.
like stuff like that. So.
Okay, yeah, no, the Cancer song was like, did Gerard Way have cancer? I never heard about him having cancer. He's
I don't
like,
think so.
He's like talking about that. Yeah, because like I don't know, maybe it was just me because I don't know. I felt like I was noticing a lot of political undertones with the album, which kind
That's
of
entirely
surprised
possible,
me.
yeah.
And then the Cancer song came out of nowhere. I was like, wait, what's going on now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like just like the big theatricality, like almost at times like theater kid-ness to it. Were you a theater kid?
I was a theater
You were a
kid.
theater
I take
kid,
no
yeah.
offense.
No, that's fine. I worked with theater kids. I was an orchestra kid. I did pit
Oh, there you
orchestra.
go. There you
And
go.
I worked tech for theater kids.
There you go. It's all coming
I was
together
friends
now.
with theater kids. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't work for 27-year-old me.
Fair
if
enough.
if it was like 13-year-old me, I would have fucked with this.
Fair
But,
enough.
Yeah, because I do like a lot of emo from around this same time period, like brand new and stuff like that. So,
So
but
you got two albums you're not too hot on.
I know,
that you need to pick between.
I'm gonna go with Black Parade for
Fair
it.
enough.
Yeah,
Wow.
Black Parade. There were some parts of Black Parade, like some guitar solos, some guitar.
The
Sometimes-
music videos are really
Right
good
away.
for this album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what you think about Health's earlier work. I mean, if you don't like his vocals, that's not really going to change.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to know what you think.
I should listen to it. Yeah, especially if you said like it's heavier and stuff, because that's kind
Yeah.
of what I was hoping it would be like.
Their earlier work reminds me of one of the albums on your list that we will get to.
Okay.
Now we have, this is an interesting matchup. We
Sure.
got Death Certificate by Ice Cube versus Bad by Michael Jackson.
All right, I'll start with Death Certificate. This album it's really good. I keep saying that a lot, but yeah, I really liked this album. I wasn't too familiar with Ice Cube's solo stuff. This album really caught me by surprise because, like, obviously Ice Cube, he had been working with the West Coast producer, Dr. Dre, and then he wasn't. This album doesn't sound like a West Coast hip hop album.
No, it really doesn't.
It has like East Coast production, or at least that's what it sounds like for a lot of it. Like the beats knock. The beats are amazing on this.
No, this isn't a lean back, sipping gin and juice type of West Coast hip hop album.
This is your prowling through the streets looking for a fight.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you know, I will say up front, a lot of it does not hold up. Like there's
some dated stuff.
There's some lyrical content on this that I do not support.
Well, that's the one thing is like the album is horny to a fault too.
Yeah,
I think. Like
and also just like slut shamey.
Oh my god, yeah,
misogynistic and homophobic. Like
yeah,
but I mean, and it's easy to do this with things like this, but it truly was a product of its time. Like that's how
100%.
That's how you sounded hard on a rap track back in the day.
So many, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you take it like that, you know. But no, I really liked it. No Vaseline.
Classic.
Love a good diss track closer. Yeah, that's classic. That's the only song I think I knew from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. I do think it's a bit too long. Could definitely trim it down. Fair. Could definitely maybe take off like 1 or 2 songs about how horny he is.
No, that's completely fair. My favorite Ice Cube song is on this album.
Which song?
My Summer Vacation. I fucking love that song.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I love the story that song tells, and I love the beat of that song. That's a driving around looking for a problem song.
Instantly, that's the first thing I noticed was right away was like the beats are so good. I mean he's rapping great over them. Like yeah.
Versus, this has always been my favorite Michael Jackson album.
Bad.
Like I know. And I especially know in this day and age...
We're talking music.
We are talking music.
We're talking music.
In this day and age, it's not popular to be a Michael Jackson fan, which is completely fair. Not always, but I have been for a long time. And this has always been my favorite of his. Like, I mean, Thriller, best-selling album, I get it. A lot of that had to do with, like, the MTV video boom and stuff. But you want to talk an album that's front-to-back heat. Like almost every song on this album was a single and like a chart top.
This is one of those albums I was talking about that you have where like every single song is a hit.
Yeah.
Pretty much. We're talking music.
We're talking music.
This is good music.
This is good music.
This is really good music.
Speed Demon?
Yeah, Speed Demon is crazy.
That song is nuts.
I had never heard that song before.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's actually slap bass or if it's like a slap bass.
Oh, that like arpeggio that's like...
Yeah, like, because it's so fast. It's like... But, yes. I was playing Speed Demon a bunch. I got Taylor into it. But, I mean, I mean, the hits that are, you know, the big hits, like Man in the Mirror, I sang last time for a reason.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize Man in the Mirror goes on forever.
Yeah, because...
But I love the outro to that song.
The single edit is a bit shorter.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering about that when I was listening to it. I was like, I do not remember this song going on so long.
Excuse me.
Jamal!
Yeah. The most, like, if you hear it on the radio, the outro is trimmed down.
I love that outro, though.
Yeah. It's very, like, gospel-inspired.
I know, I love it, yeah. Yeah, the album, he's working with a lot of different sounds on the album. I love it.
This was also the last album he did with Quincy Jones, and it's just, like, the production on this is immaculate. Like, it's somehow very 80s with, like, the album cover and the attitude and the, like, musical sound of it, but it's timeless.
It is. No, it is. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not big on Liberian Girl.
That's fair. That might be my least favorite one on the album,
the slow jam. I don't know. It feels weird tacked in between... like in the middle of the album, but yeah.
But the deep cut, Just Good Friends with Stevie Wonder.
That's great.
I love that song. That song doesn't get enough love, if you ask me. But
yeah, I'm definitely giving it to Bad. I really like Death Certificate, but I mean,
one of them's gotta go.
Jamal.
Jamal, man.
The king of pop.
All right, so up next we've got Remain in Light versus Remain in Light by Talking Heads versus Sunset Mission by Bohren und der Club of Gore, German jazz group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They sort of tout themselves as making horror jazz. There's nothing I've ever found scary about it, but
It's kind of eerie.
it is kind of eerie. But like it's this album is the exact type of jazz that I fuck with.
It reminded me of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
very
and
Lynchian.
When
yeah.
I saw it on your list, I didn't know what it was, and I had listened to Rammstein earlier in the day, or not the day, the week.
You some more German music.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like, I was driving home from work. I was like, all right, I'm gonna turn this one on, and I was expecting either like some like kind of, I don't know, yeah, German industrial or maybe like some kind of video game sounding stuff. I think because of the
Like
name
techno,
Sunset Mission.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Well,
no,
also
it's just like
the group name too, Bohren und
Yes.
der Club of Gore.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
that name's
Yeah.
hard as fuck, and they're making
Yeah.
this very like loungy, like
It's just-
like subdued Lynchian jazz.
Everything sounds violent in German.
It's true,
I think
yeah.
that's what I've learned from all this. But yeah, no, it was great. It was great driving home to it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's great driving music. Yeah, I saved the album because I really liked it. Yeah, just like I said, that's interesting that you said that they tout themselves as like a horror jazz because that's what I was thinking too, and I think it was like kind of like a cloudy, misty day when I was driving to it too, and it was
It's
really
very, very foggy.
Yeah.
Scotch on the rocks.
Yeah.
Maybe you killed your wife, maybe you didn't. Type of
Yeah.
film noir.
Yes,
type
noir.
music.
Yeah.
And this is up against, like, I mean, I guess you could call Talking Heads new wave, but that's almost doing them a disservice. But just like one of the most
Talking Heads is Talking Heads.
That's exactly. It's just an insane project from an insane group.
Yeah, this used to be my favorite Talking Heads album, and then I don't know, something shifted where Speaking in Tongues kind of overtook it at
Fair
a
enough.
certain point.
I also will admit I'm not super familiar with their discog outside of this album, other than their hits.
Yeah.
This is the
you
only
should-
album of theirs that I've listened to front to back.
You
and
should go through.
I
that
need to
discog
change
'cause it's
that,
great.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Remain in Light is just like, it's crazy to think that like they made that album when they did. It does not sound like, I mean, it kind of is just like a one of one album in my opinion.
I was listening to Born Under Punches earlier this afternoon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that song never ceases to amaze.
Yeah, and it's crazy too that like, I don't know, it's just such a weird like off kilter way that he's singing and just the music itself and everything. That's like, goddamn, like this is so cool that this made it as big as it did. But yeah, I mean, Talking Heads is great. We saw Stop Making Sense.
Nice.
Stop Making Sense at the Oriental, because they've been playing it like every month at the Oriental.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think A24 got the rights with
I
the
did see that.
the remaster and everything, and was like, fuck it, have it as much as you want or whatever. But yeah, I was really happy that they played some of the deeper cuts from this album and Stop Making Sense. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Remain in Light. I really like Sunset Mission, but
I mean, some of these pair ups are like, I mean, they're all my favorite albums, but like,
Yeah.
some of them it's like it's an unfair.
Hydrogen Bomb versus Coffee Baby.
Exactly. All right, up next we've got. Excuse me. We got Masters of Reality by Black Sabbath versus Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears.
Ooh,
That's
okay,
So
okay.
this is interesting. Songs from the Big Chair and Masters of Reality are definitely when I had emo phase isn't the right phrase, but like there was a period of time when I was in college where this stuff was really speaking to me.
Yeah. I love both these albums. I got Masters of Reality on vinyl. But I mean, Masters of Reality is great. Another album where you listen to it and you're like, how did this come out in 71? And just insanely influential and just heavy and just
still
big.
today too. Like
Oh my God, yeah.
those riffs that Tony Iommi came up
Yeah.
with are just
Every single riff is just like instantly just embeds itself
Yeah.
in your brain. But goddamn, the songs for the Big Chair, I'd never listened to it in full. It's weird too. I did not like Tears for Fears when I was younger.
Fair
I don't know why.
That's awful.
I know. But then I've come back around on them, and then this was the first album that I listened to from your list, and instantly I was just like, okay, yeah, like Shout might be the best song ever made.
it's a great tune.
Shout is awesome, and this going with Bad, like this is an album where I was just amazed by like every single song is a hit.
Yeah.
Like
Head
damn
Over
near.
Heels is one of the best songs.
Head Over Heels,
ever.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Like,
Yeah.
I love the way the songs flow into each other is great too. And it's just, again, it's a concise album where there's no filler, no wasted space, no filler, all killer.
Yeah.
It's just it is amazing front to back. This album is awesome.
Also it finally dawned on me just how many albums from the 80s are on my list.
It just dawned on you?
No, it didn't dawn on me, but like the more we talk about these
It dawned-
albums, the more I'm like, fuck, I really do have a type of music that I like.
Even some of your albums that aren't from the 80s
Sound like they're from the 80s, exactly.
It
yeah.
dawned FM on you.
Yeah, it dawned. That's pretty good.
But yeah, so I mean, despite the fact that like I've really liked Masters of Reality for a while and own it and everything, honestly, I'm going with songs from the Big Chair on this. Like,
Nice.
Like, God, yeah, I don't know. Love You, Black Sabbath, but yeah, it might be recency bias, but I don't know. It's great.
Oh, we got the more 80s shit. We've also got like the queens of pop from that era facing off here.
Okay, yeah.
We've got True Blue by Madonna versus Rhythm Nation 1814 by Janet Jackson. This is an insane matchup.
This is, yeah. So, where was True Blue in her career?
This would have been like her third or fourth album.
Okay.
Because I think it might have been, unless I'm missing one, I think it might be her third, because there was her self-titled Like a Virgin, and then I think True Blue was next.
Okay.
Because it was before Like a Prayer, which was the one after it.
Okay, yeah. It's a good album. I don't vibe with a lot of it as much as I do Madonna's other stuff. I don't know
Fair.
why.
That's fair.
I was like 50-50 on it.
That's fair. This has the disgustingly fat, overproduced late 80s sound that I love in pop music from this era. I could just like eat up with a spoon. Like this album is so overproduced, but it's like candy to me.
Yeah. No, I mean she's great. Like, her voice sounds amazing and everything, but I don't know. Yeah, something about it. Like as the album went on, I was kind of like, I'm not liking this as much as I was expecting to, because I like Madonna. I've never listened to a full Madonna album. I know like the hits, and obviously you play a lot of Madonna, Taylor. But
I do. I kind of agree with you. Like, I will always have a Madonna phase, but I had a big Madonna phase in high school where I only wore Madonna t-shirts and only listened to Madonna. And this was one I would be fine skipping over and picking something else instead. But I always enjoyed it when I put it on. It was just not my first reach.
Fair enough.
And then Rhythm Nation 1814. This album is too long, I think.
That is fair. That is fair. It is one that loses steam in the back half.
I had to look to make sure the album didn't restart.
Really?
And it was still going. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's great 80s pop. That's kind of all it is to me, though.
Sure.
Yeah. She sounds a lot like Michael on a lot of the songs. Not to take away from her or anything. That's just an observation.
No, that is true. Similar thematic content in their songs too.
Yeah. I mean, they're really great pop songs. It's just I don't think I would revisit it.
Fair enough.
So I'm gonna give it a True Blue.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm kind of lukewarm on both albums, but I prefer Madonna over Janet. I'm not big on Janet.
Fair enough.
Have you seen the Rhythm Nation music video?
I have not actually.
Then you will.
Okay. Then I'll change my mind. All right, we can watch it after this.
All right, up
All right,
next
what's
we've
this?
got some rock
Some
classics
Ghost?
for me. We've got Prequel by Ghost versus Nevermind by Nirvana. I had a hard time picking which Ghost album I wanted to be
I was
on the
wondering
list.
about that because I know you like Ghost a lot.
Yeah, because like it could have depending on my mood in the day, it could be Meliora. But I spent a lot of time with Prequel, and again, Nevermind, basic bitch pick. The true Nirvana fan prefers In Utero, but I just prefer listening to Nevermind.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of which one to start with. I'll start with Prequel, because I brought up a few albums that I expected to like, and then kind of didn't like as much as I thought I was going to. This was the opposite, where from what I had heard of Ghost and what I knew of Ghost, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I liked it a lot. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's really
it is.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was also sort of, because the whole mythos of Ghost is it's like a new pope in this like anti-Catholic church. So with each album, there's a sort of a sound change. Like their first album is very Sabbath inspired, very early metal inspired. By the time you get to Prequel, this is like much glammier, much more arena rock.
Yeah.
To the point where their newest album I actually didn't care for much because it was almost a little too like glam and arena rock.
I've heard not good things about their new album.
It's not one I am in a hurry to revisit.
Yeah, but no, it's just like fun, really fun. Like I don't metal. I guess like it is metal. Yeah. But
depends on who you ask. There's a lot of metal gatekeepers that hate Ghost.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, because they are. I feel like I'm contradicting myself. They are like theatrical too. And where I didn't like that with My Chemical Romance, I actually like it with this.
Sure.
I don't know why.
That's fair. There's that's they're theatrical in very different ways though too. So that makes sense.
But yeah, I liked it a lot. You know, you got like sax solos thrown in there and stuff like that. Like it's fun. It's just really fun. When did they start? Like when did their first album come out?
Oh fuck. Was that like 09?
Oh really? Okay.
It was like
I didn't know that. I thought they had been around longer.
That's not sounding right. I'll look it up on their first album because Tobias Forge, the frontman, has been around in the Swedish metal community for a long time.
Are they Swedish?
Yes.
Okay.
Look up.
I was wondering if they were like European or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Got that vibe.
Opus Eponymous was 2010.
Okay.
So
cool.
they've been doing it for 14 years now at this point.
Nice. Yeah. And then you got Nevermind, which is just a heavy hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's not much to say about this album that hasn't already been said. In Bloom is my favorite song off of it, I would say.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how Something in the Way just, like, became a huge hit.
Oh, yeah.
The Batman.
Yeah.
Because, before that trailer came out, and then obviously the song is in the movie like the twice. I kind of just forgotten about that song, and it is a great song.
Yeah, it is a great song, and it works well for that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot. He's playing like a weird Kurt Cobain tortured version of Bruce Wayne. But anyways, back to the album. Yeah, it is great. I think I don't know. I go back and forth between Nevermind and In Utero.
Mm-hmm.
I also just I don't listen to Nirvana. I love Nirvana. I wouldn't say love, but I like Nirvana. They're a classic and everything. But they're not like a band that I turn on for myself a lot. I would say I put on, if I am listening to them, I put on In Utero a bit more than Nevermind. But
I had a big grunge phase in high school because I'm about 20 years behind every craze. But I also wasn't alive for most of the grunge era.
Yeah.
And
grunge is great.
Alice in Chains is my favorite band from that Seattle Big Four but I've got nothing but love for Nirvana and this album.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it to Nevermind.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Again, that's sort of it.
I
I think
feel like
Prequel would put up a good fight, but Nevermind is one of those.
I mean,
those albums.
Prequel surprised me. If Prequel had like a matchup against something else, it would have made it.
That's fair. Now we've this is hilarious. Now we've got Hellbilly Deluxe by Rob Zombie. You knew it was coming. Versus Trilogy by Carpenter Brute. It's called Trilogy because it's essentially a collection of his 3 EPs he put out.
Were they made for something? Were they like
No,
they were. On the score,
they were. So there was a big dark wave and synth wave movement that was happening in Europe, in France, with like other artists like Perturbator. I'm still not sure how you're supposed to say that name. And other artists, but obviously a lot of people know him now because a couple of songs were used for the Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack.
Okay, yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong on this music existed before Hotline Miami.
Okay, yeah. This is the album that I was talking about that I said I was playing video games too.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's not even like I planned like, oh, this is video game music. It's just like I was playing games and I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to one of Matt's albums. And I just happened to pick this, so I was like, oh, this matches up perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's great synthwave. Like yeah, it's good.
This was an insane concert. I'm glad.
Oh, you saw him?
Yeah, I'm glad I got to see him.
Nice. Where'd you see him?
Chicago.
Nice.
I forget what venue it was.
That's cool. Yeah,
It was the
it's
Metro. It was the Metro in Chicago.
okay.
The chick that opened for him too, Sierra, I've also fallen in love with. She was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, love the Metro. Shout out to the Metro. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's probably not something that I wouldn't turn on if I like wasn't gaming.
Sure.
But yeah. And then you got Hellbilly Deluxe, which, like I said with Tears for Fears, where like I turned it, I was like, wait, maybe Shout's the best song ever made.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, maybe Dragula's the best song ever made. So, like, because yeah.
This is another one where I had a hard time deciding which Rob Zombie album I wanted to put on. 'Cause
Oh, really?
I could have picked like 2 other ones.
This is the only Rob Zombie album I know.
Fair enough. The follow up to this one, The Sinister Urge, is also really, really good.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end, this one's got the hits,
Yeah.
because you're hit right away with Super Beast into Dragula into Living Dead Girl, and it's like if you're not awake by that point, like I don't know, you might be legally dead.
I will say, I think he blows his load a bit too early by having Dragula be like is it the second or the third song?
It's
obviously
the third
like
if you count the intro thing.
Yeah, and obviously like you can't you can't plan for what's going to be a hit, or it's the third or how big of a hit it is, but it's like once Dragula hits, like the rest of the album is great, but it kind of is like
That is fair, yeah.
Peak to the
It is the true definition of like A-side. Like,
yes.
I mean,
and that's the only thing is I think the front half of the album is way stronger than the second half.
I do like The Return of the Phantom Stranger. I think that's a cool, like, creepy way to close out the album.
Yeah. And I was surprised at how short the album was too. Like it was over before I knew it. And like, because like it's got a lot of songs too. Like the songs are pretty short. Which I kind of don't mind. It's got a great flow to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Hellbilly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like to fucking see. We're on the Monsters of Midnight YouTube channel and Rob Zombie taking W's. Alright, this is insane that these 2 albums matched up.
I listened to these 2 albums today too, actually.
Oh my god. So we've got Visions of Bodies Being Burned by Clipping versus Me and My Gang by Rascal Flatts. This is bananas.
Do you wanna explain the Me and My Gang?
So I grew up pretty much exclusively listening to pop country. Like, my dad was a big country music fan. Like, we were always listening to the local country music radios. We were watching CMT, seeing all the music videos. And so this is, like, the early 2000s, like, pre-2010 is, like, my sweet spot for pop country. Whereas, like, all the old heads are, like, they're listening to, like, 80s and 90s stuff. I'm getting to the point where if, like, anything from this era comes on, I'm put in a good mood.
This
and
album sounds like 2005.
it does,
Like,
yeah. Even the album cover too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Rascal Flatts was probably my favorite artist growing up. I had a poster for them and shit.
Nice.
Like, and this album, and I revisited this album recently because I was like, it's been a while, but like I was talking to my sister about it. We're talking about favorite albums, and I re-listened to it, and I appreciate it more because a lot of this album is actually really sad.
Oh yeah, no,
and
yeah.
but like
It's heartfelt.
yeah, and like even some of the more schmaltzy tracks like He Ain't the Leavin' Kind, which is about Jesus, which is not necessarily a sentiment I agree with anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a sweet song.
Yeah.
And there's a
He's
lot,
putting his heart into it.
and there's just like the production and their vocals like butter, their harmonies and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't even care. I fucking love this album. Versus an insane like alternative experimental horrorcore hip hop album.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite hip hop projects to come out of the last several years.
I didn't know that Visions came out in 2020. I thought it was a bit earlier for some reason. I'll start with Visions. I'll do it in the order that I listened to them today. I had listened to Visions once before. Funny story about Visions actually. Was it Visions or was it? They put out one in 2019 too, didn't they?
Yeah, that was There Existed an Addiction to Blood.
Okay, I think it was this one. They have very similar covers. But yeah, whatever the single was that they put out for this album, when I was interning at the radio station I interned at, and they would do every Monday they would do music meetings where people would have to bring in songs to like suggest to put on the radio. And that week I could not find any new released music to bring into the meeting, but I was like, I can't come to the music meeting empty handed. And so they had just put out some song from this 2019 album.
That's wild.
And it starts with like a crazy just like noise intro, and then it gets into something that like for clipping is like, okay, this could maybe work for the station. And it's more so just like, I don't want to come in empty handed.
That's fair.
I was like, it's whatever, it's alternative rap. Maybe it'll work. It probably won't. And yeah, everyone was like, well, the intro's a bit much. Because I mean they're noisy. They're definitely like horror inspired, industrial at times. I like the album. So clipping is David Diggs. David
Diggs
and then
two other guys.
Okay.
The two white guys.
Yeah. Are the two white guys rapping too? Or are they like
no?
producers?
It's David Diggs is the only one.
Okay. They're Death Grips.
Yeah, they're Death Grips. Yeah, they're the producers.
It's the rapper and then two white guys. I almost wish that I didn't know David Diggs was in Hamilton, because at times I was just picturing him dressed in like his Hamilton stuff, like on stage next to Lin-Manuel Miranda, like rapping.
See, that makes it funnier to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's a great rapper. The production is really good. Like when the production really gets going, it's like really good. When a lot of the more like minimal stuff can get a bit samey to me when it's just like it'll just be like like that. But yeah, and he's got like a really staccato flow, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But no, I like it. I like clipping.
Check the Lock has become like almost like a meme in our friend group. We reference that song all the fucking time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The Looking Like Meat, I liked a lot.
Yeah. I love 96 Nev Camp.
Yeah.
I think that song's heat.
But yeah, no, it's a good album. And then Me and My Gang. Me and My Gang. What do I say about this album? It's got it sounds so 2005.
It is very stuck in its time. Yeah,
but like the second I was like halfway through the first song, I was like, God damn, I'm feeling nostalgic for 2005.
Yeah,
this is making me feel nostalgic for listening to Rascal Flatts in 2005, and I wasn't even doing that. But like a very big variety of like types of songs on the album too. Like the first song is like really big and grandiose. the album has really good production.
It does,
Like
yeah.
really good production.
Like I said, it's like
It
that.
sounds
It's
it
a
sounds
golden era
really
of
crisp,
country.
really
for me.
good. Yeah. I forgot about the song "What Hurts the Most." And that like really like
Forgot about that song?
yeah.
song blew
I know
my
that song like teleported me.
Yeah.
When
I should mention, if you find this album on streaming, it has "Life Is a Highway" on it, which was not released with the album. They subsequently put that on as a bonus track after Cars came out.
Okay, yeah, that's the one thing I knew about Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
Cars, Life is a Highway, and and it's the last song on the album on
Yeah.
streaming too. So like, okay, that makes sense that it was tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like you got like really, really heartfelt songs like "My Wish" and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like,
I've heard "My Wish" at so many weddings.
Oh,
It is
really?
the
sounds like
father-daughter dance
Yeah.
song.
No, I was thinking while I was listening to it, I was like, God, if I was a dad, I'd probably be tearing up at this
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Like, yeah. But yeah, the title track "Me and My Gang" has like that weird like I don't know what you call
like,
that
wah-wah
synth. Yeah,
sound.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, wah.
I loved that song as a kid, but that one went revisiting. I was like, this is pretty corny.
That sound is very dated.
Yeah,
I feel like,
but like I love that song. I love that song as a kid because it was the only song in the album that didn't make me want to cry pretty much. But look
Yeah.
at now, I'm a sad cowboy, and I just like all the sad cowboy shit on it.
this is backwards. This is what
Backwards is fun.
This is what happens when you sing a country song, man. That's like a hoedown song. Yeah,
Oh,
you go
yeah.
from like big, like big rockin' stand to like what hurts the most to like
Yeah.
a hoedown with banjos and fiddles and
Yep.
stuff like. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Me and My Gang.
Let's go. That's incredible.
Why not?
Why not?
Me and My Gang, I think honestly, like, is the one that is more in my head.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got Nothing to Fear by Oingo Boingo versus Violator by Depeche Mode. I will say Nothing to Fear is my favorite album. Just like hands down, flat out, my favorite album.
I'll start with Violator. I've tried listening to this album before.
Mm-hmm.
This album does nothing for me.
Fair enough.
Don't understand that.
I don't understand it either. Like I feel like I should like it. It is like a flat line to me where like I feel nothing when I listen to it. I don't know why, and it bothers me because I'm like I feel like I should like this.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It just nothing about it sticks with me. Not even like the hits off of it. I don't know. I guess like Depeche Mode isn't my thing, even though I like a lot of other new wave stuff and stuff that sounds like them. But yeah,
Just not goth enough.
I guess yeah. Nothing to Fear is crazy.
Yes.
Nothing to Fear is insane.
Yes.
I texted you when I was listening. I listened to this album like 5 times in a row
Hell yeah.
when I first listened to it. And yeah, I texted you and I was like, "What the fuck was Danny Elfman on when he made this album?"
Dude,
Because,
bro is just on another. He recently did an Instagram video because he's gonna be playing Sick New World, and he's gonna be performing a new song, and the beat for it, the like cadence of the percussion was inspired by an MRI that he got.
Jesus.
Dude is just on another planet.
Yeah, I mean, like everything from like the production to his singing to like what he's singing about, everything is just insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it feels like the loony bin in the most fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was doing mountains of cocaine or what, but like,
As far as I
holy
know,
shit.
he's always been clean.
That's crazy.
I think I sent you
Some
that
people
drug
are just like
PSA
that. Yeah,
he did.
Wait, he did a drug? Oh, you
I think I
definitely
might
did
have
not
said,
send me
okay,
that.
but yeah, no, I there was he's on. It was later. It might be like late '80s, but he's definitely on a drug. He did a drug PSA.
That's crazy. Yeah, I got notes for this one. But yeah, Insects is insane. I mean, all the songs are just crazy, but like, yeah, Insects is wild.
Yeah.
Very fun song, but also just like you listen to it, you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
that part
yeah.
toward the end where he's like yelping.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
it is nuts.
I think it's weird. I really enjoy and admire and love like the zaniness of it, but maybe my favorite song off of it is one of the more like relaxed songs, the "Running on a Treadmill."
Running on a Treadmill is fun.
I love "Running on a
He
Treadmill."
did a new version of that song on Instagram during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
That's
like,
cool.
recent times got me feeling a certain way. Reminds me of an old song. I was blown away. I was like, this is insane that he is bringing up this song again.
Mm-hmm.
But he also did for Big Mess, his solo album that came out a couple years ago now. He did a new version of Insects too, which is also really fucking good.
I would love to see him perform that live.
Yeah.
Look up some videos after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I have written here Private Life sounds Talking Heads-ish. Because,
yeah.
I mean, it's new wave and stuff, but, like, it's different than Talking Heads. It is, like...
That's the thing is, like, they're always compared to Devo, too. And, like...
I can see that.
I can see that, but there's also still enough...
It's just the wackiness of it.
Yeah,
I
there's
think.
still enough about it where it's like, this is still something different
Way
from
different, yeah.
from what, like, their contemporaries.
Yeah. And
It's
what a-
weird that they had such a long-standing career for never being, like, a chart-topping band.
I know, yeah, that is crazy. And what a fitting band name, Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's obvious which one this is going to. It's going to Nothing to Fear.
Let's go.
Yep.
Happy about that. I wanted it to make it out of the first bracket, at
Yeah.
least. All right.
Anthology.
So this is where another sort of cheat for soundtracks. We've got Anthology, movie themes 1974 to 1998 by John Carpenter versus Issues by Korn. Yeah, so John Carpenter did like new recordings with his son and like the other person in his band. That's just new recordings of pieces of music, mostly movie themes.
Yeah, you
from
could
his
tell.
catalog.
You could tell they were like new recordings.
Mm-hmm. And he also did like because he didn't do the soundtrack for The Thing and Starman. He did like new recordings.
Yeah, because
covers of those.
didn't Ennio Morricone?
Yeah,
do-
Morricone did
I was
the soundtrack
wondering
for
about
The Thing,
that.
and I
Okay,
think
yeah.
like Jack Nietzsche did the soundtrack for Starman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is just a compilation of new recordings for themes from his movies.
Yeah, it's all just the main themes for each one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus a new metal album
Versus Korn.
versus Korn.
I'll start with Anthology. Yeah. John Carpenter, he's just got such like a distinct sound that it's
We wouldn't have synthwave if it weren't for him.
I know, yeah, it's crazy that he is directing these movies and also making just like these really like one of one movie scores.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the Halloween theme is like the most iconic horror movie score easily. Besides maybe like I don't know, Jaws if you consider that. But,
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, and like which one was it? Prince of Darkness. I was listening to that. I've never seen. I don't know what Prince of Darkness is. I've never seen it, but like that.
I haven't seen a movie in a long time, and
That theme was rocking.
It
I was
is.
yeah.
Like it is a strange movie. Like I don't even know if I could really explain what it's actually about.
Okay. Hey, hearing that theme made me want to watch it. I might pop it on tonight. We'll see.
It's a cool one.
Yeah, I don't remember. In the Mouth of Madness is one of my favorite horror movies. I don't remember the theme being that rocking to it.
Oh yeah, well he's
maybe
admitted
it was
that
the
he was
re-recording or
no. The original theme is like that. He admitted being inspired by Enter Sandman for that.
okay,
for
that checks
theme.
out. Yeah, but yeah, I mean John Carpenter, one of a kind, and then you got Issues, Korn. Boom, da, da. There wasn't much of that on this album.
No, not a whole lot of boom nap and nomming on
I
this
kind
album.
of wish there was a bit more.
Yeah, I almost went with Follow the Leader, but there's just a few songs on that that are even a little too problematic for me.
I like new metal. I like new metal. I like. I'm more of a Limp Bizkit guy than the Korn guy. Yeah.
So the song on Follow the Leader, that's the most problematic, also has Fred Durst on it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know there was a crossover there.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to listen to that song. I can't imagine a Jonathan Davis, Fred Durst problematic song.
Rap Battle.
Okay. I'll use my imagination for that one. Yeah. I already have a feeling of probably what it contains. But yeah. Man, Korn is weird.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I don't know. Korn is just kind of like a funny thing that is like, you know, it's like a funny little niche thing in small doses.
Sure.
But I can't get it as, I mean, even like when I say I like nu metal and like Limp Bizkit, there is like a kind of sense of irony to it where
Yeah.
like, you know, I love that it is so of the time and just like brazen, ugly music that I can't help but admire it, and like it is just really fun.
Yeah.
Would I call it good music? Maybe not.
Sure.
Maybe for some good riffs. But yeah, at Korn, you know, there's definitely some riffs that I like. I'm not big on Jonathan Davis's vocals.
That is completely fair. He always sounds like he's about to burst into tears.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of big nu metal bands are weak when it comes to
Chocolate
vocals.
starfish.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'll give it to John Carpenter.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That one's not super surprising. And we've got our final matchup in the first tier here. Another sort of cheat.
Ooh.
To Live and Die in L.A. soundtrack by Wang Chung versus Abbey Road by the Beatles.
Ooh.
The soundtrack for To Live and Die in L.A. I put on because I really do like it, and I really, really do like Wang Chung. And also, hell yeah, he's got the vinyl out. That's like, I've got that one too. That album cover's sick.
I got that vinyl in the same place I got that vinyl.
Oh, there you go. That
Yeah.
makes sense. The front half, the A side of this album is just Wang Chung songs.
It rules.
What?
It rules.
It does, yeah. Like, there's one song on it that was from a previous album, but the other stuff was recorded for the movie. And then the B side is instrumentals, like the score. So that's why I kind of put it on, because it's a soundtrack, but it's also a Wang Chung album.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie yet?
No, I have not. It's who's the director?
William Friedkin.
It's Friedkin. Yes, that's right. No, I should see it.
It's a cool movie.
Friedkin's a psychopath.
Yeah. Insane car chase in that movie.
Is this the movie where everyone's really sweaty?
It's a sweaty movie. It's
Yeah.
this fits in
I
like.
just watched another sweaty Friedkin movie, Sorcerer.
Oh, I need
Yeah.
to see Sorcerer
Dude,
still.
Sorcerer rules.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get
No, this fits into what I call LA noir movies, where they do not paint LA as like Hollywood, glitzy, glamorous. This is like it is a disgusting.
They paint it how it is.
Yeah.
Hell on
yeah,
earth.
exactly. Yeah. No, it is. It's which is weird because I think it takes place around Christmas, so I don't know why everyone is so hot, but I could be wrong about that. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but yeah, cool movie, slow burn, crime thriller. A lot
There's
of
a lot of Christmas LA movies.
yeah, a lot of parallels to the Miami Vice movie.
Now I gotta see it.
I actually think it would be a cool double feature.
All right, I'm watching it tonight. I guess.
There you
This
go.
or Prince of Darkness. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean it's great. Wang Chung. Taylor and I had like a little. Everybody have fun tonight.
Yeah, we were on that for a minute.
Listen to that song. Just that song. I'm not too familiar with the rest of Wang
Sure,
Chung.
yeah.
It's cool that they did a soundtrack though, and like it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I throw this album on more than you would expect.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you always have this one on. Great for cleaning. Great
Yes.
for playing video games.
Yeah.
Great for just sitting in silence and listening to it.
Yeah, and when I got that vinyl, I had heard of the movie, but I didn't know what it was. I'd never seen it. I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the soundtrack, but I just like saw the cover and saw Wang Chung in big letters. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, that's mine now.
I'll probably in the edit. I think I'm gonna have the two album covers side by side, so you should be seeing the
perfect.
album
Yeah.
covers here
It's a great album cover. The green on the orange
Mm-hmm.
sunset.
versus Abbey Road.
Abbey
which,
Road.
again, maybe a normie pick, but Abbey Road is just like a warm hug to me.
Yeah, it did. I had not listened to Abbey Road in full in a long time. Like honestly, probably since high school. And I mean, yeah, it's incredible.
Yes.
yeah, front to back, like it's got everything you want from an album. So yeah, they were doing it.
Immaculate.
They were doing the Beatles. They were doing their
Immaculate,
thing.
and that whole like extended medley in the
Yeah,
back
I mean,
half.
it just it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abbey Road. I'm giving
Fair
it to
enough.
Abbey Road.
That makes sense.
Yep. Sorry, Wang Chung, but Abbey Road is Abbey Road.
All right.
All right.
All right. So as we're moving on here, we're gonna stop talking about how like we feel about the albums in depth and just kind of go with it.
You know
obviously.
you know our thoughts.
Yes, sir.
There is one thing I want to say about Dirt that I forgot to bring up with
Mm-hmm.
it, but I feel like Dirt more than like the other albums. I don't know why I think this. Well, maybe Soundgarden. Maybe Pearl Jam. Okay, I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I don't know. Dirt has like there's the whole post grunge, and then kind of post grunge kind of goes into butt rock
Yeah.
type stuff. Dirt, you can kind of hear. I feel like you can hear more of an influence on post grunge and Dirt than other grunge albums. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's just in my head.
I can
but
see that.
yeah.
I feel like 10,
Not to knock it at all, because
10 by
obviously
Pearl
like,
Jam definitely.
Pearl Jam,
that's just Eddie
yeah.
Vedder's voice though. Like people
Yeah.
decided we're gonna sing like that
Yeah.
for like 10 years now.
yeah, Scott Stapp.
So up next we've got Dirt by Alice in Chains versus To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar.
We will go with To Pimp a Butterfly.
Understood.
Yes.
I am happy that Dirt made it out of the first
Oh
round.
yeah, no, Dirt's great. I'm gonna listen to it again, honestly, because I want to take it in more.
This is a tough one. Purple Rain by Prince
Ooh.
versus Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown.
I think if it was
Check.
the Danny Brown album that's on my bracket, it would go to Danny, but I'm gonna give it to Purple Rain.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, Purple Rain almost made my bracket too.
That's
yeah.
completely fair. Up next, Run the Jewels 2 versus the Black Parade.
All right, well, one of these I really like and one of these I don't really like, so it's gonna go to Run the Jewels. Black Parade is lucky it was up against.
That is fair.
What was
yeah.
it up against? Health. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Up next, we've got Bad versus Remain in Light.
This is hard.
This is a tough one.
This one's hard.
I mean, it's not probably tough for
obviously-
you. It's not super tough for me.
Yeah, obviously in terms of like what I've listened to more, it's Remain in Light, but like, God, Bad is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it to Bad. I feel
Ooh.
weird. I
Was
feel
not
weird
expecting that.
doing that. I feel weird doing that, but yeah.
All right, it's
No.
an upset. All right, and then
I think Bad just has like too many hits and sounds like it just sounds amazing.
that's
I don't
good.
know.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Songs from the Big Chair versus True Blue.
Songs from the Big Chair,
Yeah,
because I was mid on True Blue.
fair enough.
Sorry.
Nevermind versus Hellbilly Deluxe.
It's gotta go to Nevermind. Like,
Fair enough.
yeah, Nevermind has just more to it, I think, to work with than Hellbilly. Hellbilly's really fun though.
Me and My Gang versus Nothing to Fear.
Well,
The beginning and ending of my life.
Mr. Flats, you made it this far, but yeah, no, it's Oingo Boingo. I was captivated by
Hell
Nothing
yeah.
to Fear.
Let's go. Alright. And finally for this tier, Anthology versus Abbey Road.
Ooh. I'm gonna give it to Abbey Road just because again, like the Nevermind thing, there's just more to work with
Fair enough.
there. But like, I mean, yeah, can't take away from Anthology because John Carpenter's great.
Definitely understand. Alright, T-Pab versus Purple Rain.
Ooh. Kendrick had a line about Prince recently.
Sure.
That's funny. Prince outlived MJ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Purple Rain on this one.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I listen to Purple Rain more than To Pimp a Butterfly.
It's easier to get into.
Yeah.
Run the Jewels 2 versus Bad.
Oh man, I would. When I first saw your list, I would not have expected this. Bad.
Wow.
What?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh
really
my
like,
god!
I really
never
like that.
thought you would. Whoa.
I'm not as big into Run the Jewels as I used to be. I don't know
Fair
why.
enough.
Yeah.
Songs from the Big Chair versus Nevermind.
Ooh, songs from the Big Chair.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes me pretty damn happy.
I'm surprised myself here with some of these picks.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Nothing to Fear versus Abbey Road.
Wango.
We got more upsets. Yeah, nothing to fear.
Let's flip
Oh, we should probably say too. These seeding numbers have nothing to do with. These seeding numbers are completely random.
Oh yeah, the seating number. We put the albums in alphabetically.
Yeah.
So this has nothing to do with like order of favorites or anything.
Oh god.
So we've got the titans of the '80s.
It's
here.
Prince versus MJ
Prince
Night
versus
at
MJ
Mad
Night.
Planet.
Purple Rain versus Bad.
All right. Well, see, this is funny because I just experienced this matchup in real life on my birthday weekend last Saturday, and obviously I was playing stuff from besides these two albums from each artist. Like I said, MJ's easier to dance to than Prince. MJ has more hits than Prince, but I'm giving it to Purple Rain on this one.
That's fair.
Bad-
That is fair. That's respectable.
Brad had a great little run there, but it's
I
going
think
to
I would
Prince.
go Purple Rain too.
Yeah.
Which surprises even me. And now we've got Songs from the Big Chair versus Nothing to Fear.
Ooh, this is a toughie.
It's getting hot.
I know.
We got sort of sad boy new wave versus punk adjacent new wave. Ska adjacent, punk adjacent new wave.
See, in both of these, it's crazy that these albums made it really far because I'd never listened to Nothing to Fear before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never listened to songs from the Big Chair in full. Obviously, I'd heard like most of the album just
From
off of the fact that it's
yeah.
hits. I'm gonna go with Nothing to Fear though. That album's a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is wild because Nothing to Fear is my favorite album. I can't believe it. This is probably my top two favorite
I knew.
albums.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
probably,
awesome. Hey,
yeah.
there we go. We line up.
We got Purple Rain versus Nothing to Fear for the finals.
For the
here.
final, here we are, the final. I knew Purple Rain would be really far, if not in the final, when I saw your list.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to Fear. I had no expectations for that because I had never heard it before, but here it is, you know. But it's got to be Purple Rain.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is completely fair.
I have a new album that I have a ton of fun with Nothing to Fear, but you can't beat the classic.
I love
you can't
to hear
beat
that.
Purple Rain. Yeah.
Purple Rain won my bracket for Tony.
Yes.
If you feel so inclined, let me know in the comments what your favorite album
See, like,
is on this list.
Yeah, I expected Remain in Light to make it further for me.
So a lot
That's
of
the fun of this. This was
Yeah,
really
no,
fun.
A lot of this comes down to just matchups.
Yeah.
too.